Um, Good evening, good afternoon, good night. I'm Luquitas Montes, and this light is a shit. I can't believe this. I'm going to read. Nah, oh my god. This is epic. I'm going to read another chapter of this book. The name of this book is How Life, Low Life. In the last chapter, we read about a rich woman that called Nat for help. We don't know why, so I'm going to find out this in the chapter 3. So let's begin. The name of this chapter is The Will, and will means testimonio. Mr. Whittaker, I say, I'm not a lawyer. I might be old, but I'm not completely stupid. The old lady replied, I want you to find me a lawyer. Where is the book phone? I asked. I will show you who to call. You don't understand. I want you to find a good lawyer and bring him here. Someone I can trust. It's to do with my will. Mr. Whittaker opened her handbag and took out a pile of hungry dollar bills. I hadn't seen so much money in one place in years. What's your fee, Mr. Marley? It's $1,000 a day plus expenses. But not just now, ma'am. When I finish the shop. I wouldn't carry all that money around. It could be dangerous. We left the coolness of the lobby at the Century Apartments and walked out onto Central Park West. If you don't like the heat, find a bar, which is what we did. A short walk through the park to the tower on the green. Not the sort of place I will choose to drink in. Expensive drinks and too many tourists. But it was closed. And that's important when it's hot enough to fry an egg on the sidewalk. We sat in a quiet corner with a couple of cold beers and talked about the two women we had just met. What a way to live, said Stella. Yeah, can you imagine it? Never going outside, I replied. As far as I can see, Martha does everything for Mr. Whittaker. She looks as if she's got the strange woman, though. I wouldn't want to meet Martha on a dark, lonely street. Stella remained in silence. I could see she was thinking. There is something very strange about Mr. Whittaker, too, she said finally. She's got family, so why doesn't she have her own family lawyer? And I couldn't see any photos of her children, just wedding photos and pictures of her husband. Then she called you Tom. Who does she think you are? Her husband returned from the dead? Who knows what's going on, I say. But worrying about it isn't going to earn us any money. Let's go and find that lawyer. Stella and I went back to the office and I made a call to Wilma Peterson. By 3 o'clock we had made the arrangements. We met Wilma back at the Century Apartments and took the elevator up to the 50th floor. Martha showed us in without a word. Ah, Mr. Miley and Mr. Delgado. But where is my lawyer? Asked Mr. Whittaker. Wilma stopped her. Mr. Whittaker, I'm Wilma Peterson, senior partner of Patterson and Schofield attorneys at law. I don't believe you, Mr. Whittaker said sharply. Mr. Whittaker, I say, Mr. Patterson is the finest lawyer I know. Trust me. Mr. Whittaker looked at me doubtfully. I just nodded and smiled. Eventually, she relaxed. Well, this mother time, I wasn't expecting a lady lawyer. Now, do sit down. You will join me in a glass of sherry, won't you, Marta? Marta came in which bottles and glasses. She looked angry. Mr. Whittaker waved her away to the kitchen without so much as a thank you. Sweet or dry, Mr. Marley? She asked. I don't drink sherry, but I didn't want to upset Mr. Whittaker. I asked for sweet. A very good choice, Tom, she said, smiling. Oh dear, there I go again, calling you Tom. Now, Tom always enjoys a sweet sherry. And you do too. Now, Mr. Marley, if you will wait here with Mr. Delgado, I have business to discuss with Mr. Patterson in the library. I knew this was going to take time. I made myself comfortable and had a couple more sherries. After a while, Stella fell asleep. I started putting prices on the furniture in the living room and lost count at $50,000. An hour later, Wilma returned looking worried. Ned, we have a problem, she said. Mr. Whittaker wants to make you rich. Is that a problem? I asked. It's when the son and daughter don't get a cent. I talked it over with her, but she won't listen. She wants it all to go to you. She read about you in the papers. Says you remind her of her late husband Tom. Says she couldn't think of a better person to leave everything to. Oh my god. The door to the kitchen was open. Suddenly there was a sound of more glass breaking. Did Marta have a lot of accident? Or was she listening to every word that was being said and didn't like what she heard? So, what happens now? I asked. In the end, I don't have much choice, said Wilma. A lawyer has to follow the client's instructions. I don't like this, I say. You've got to speak to the family and arrange a meeting, or else I'm going to be in the middle of a family war. Agreed, she replied, but I'm not making any promises. Wilma went back in the library. Then I hear the sound of someone using an old typewriter. Couple more sherries later, I was starting to get a headache. I got up and looked more closely at one of the photos of Tom Whittaker. 40 something, a little fat, and losing his hair, just like me, unfortunately. The sound of typing went on at 5 o'clock. Wilma came out to ask Stella to sign the will as a witness, and the doorman was called from downstairs to be the second witness. A few minutes later, everybody was back in the sitting room. Mr. Whittaker looked pleased. Thank you, everybody, Mr. Whittaker said. Mr. Miley, your fee. She gave me a fat envelope. Mr. Patterson has already given me her bill. Mr. Whittaker gave Wilma another fat envelope. Now before we leave, a present for everybody. Marta. Marta! Marta entered with a pile of large books in her powerful arms. In a memory of my dear husband, said Mr. Whittaker. I looked at the title. A History of Whittaker Heir by Tom Whittaker, President. So that was where the family money came from? Thank you so much, ma'am. I'll enjoy reading this. I lied. Mr. Whittaker gave me a big, sweet smile, almost like she was in love. It frightened me. She took my hand. Her hand was all bone and paper-thin skin. At that point, I just wanted to get out of the apartment and never return. You'll enjoy living here when I'm gone, Tom, she said. Martha was standing behind everybody. She gave Mr. Whittaker a long, dark look. Finally, we escaped into the late afternoon heat. Outside, I opened the envelope. $2,000 in $100 bills. Not bad for one day's work. Wilma Patterson looked worried. Nat, once the family finds out what the will, there is going to be trouble, she said. Don't I know it? I replied. You've got to get the family talking. Get her to change the will. As I said before, I'll try, Wilma replied. Thanks, I said. I don't want anyone to think I take advantage of confused old ladies. And that is how the chapter ends. I hope you enjoyed this video and see you in the next one. Have a nice day.